Why do we need an accessibility audit for a VPAT? Well, the simple answer is we need to make sure the VPAT is accurately and completely filled in. But let's add more context to that answer using the graphic that's on the screen with me. We have a three-column progression, starting with audit, moving on to VPAT, and then concluding with ACR. And I have screenshots in each column. So let's go over these screenshots, starting with the audit. And an audit is going to be a formal evaluation of a digital asset where we are grading against a technical standard for accessibility. So the technical standard could be the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines version 2.1, conformance level AA. Obviously, there are other technical standards, but the point here is that we're grading our digital asset against this technical standard. And if there are any instances of non-conformance with the technical standard, those are going to be included in the audit report. And so that's what I have on the screen with me is a screenshot of an audit. And there are going to be, here we have, there's an Excel spreadsheet with several columns and they're all populated. And so some of the columns are the accessibility issue itself, where it is located, a description of the issue, the WCAG, the applicable WCAG success criterion, a screenshot or a screen recording, a link to that screenshot or screen recording, and then a recommendation on how to fix the accessibility issue, along with a few other columns. But the point here is that an audit is going to be thorough, it's going to be detailed, and it's going to tell you exactly what accessibility issues exist on your digital asset. Now, the audit is going to be for a given scope. And when it comes to VPATs and creating an ACR, we want to make sure that we have a comprehensive scope of your product or service because we want to make sure that we fully and completely reflect the accessibility status of your digital asset. Now, moving on to the next column, we have the VPAT. And so here we have a screenshot of Table 1, Success Criteria Level A. This is a screenshot of a portion of the VPAT. So this is the material portion of the VPAT. We need to fill in this accessibility table because this really is going to be like a report card for your digital assets accessibility. So note that in the audit, we have a lot more details and a lot more context surrounding the accessibility issue. In the VPAT, it's not that way. We just have the final result. Is your digital asset conformant with a given criterion or is it not? So in this table, we have the criteria, we have another column for conformance level, and then we have a column for remarks and explanations. In the conformance level column, we're either going to write supports, partially supports, does not support, not applicable, or if it's AAA success criteria, not evaluated. But we can only use not evaluated when it comes to AAA success criteria. But that's what we're going to include in the conformance level column of the VPAT. And then the other column that we are potentially going to populate is the remarks and explanations column. Now, this column is not absolutely necessary unless for your conformance level, you write does not support or partially supports. Otherwise, you don't absolutely have to fill in this column, but it is recommended that you add some remarks and explanations, even if your digital asset is fully conformant with a technical standard. But regardless, this is what we are filling in. This is a screenshot of one section of the accessibility table included in the VPAT. And remember, the VPAT is just the templated document. We need to fill out the VPAT, both the material accessibility portion and the details to create an accessibility conformance report. And that's what I have in this final column is the very top of the accessibility conformance report where we fill in the details before we get to the accessibility table. So some of the details include name of the product and or version for the product or service. And then we have the report date. So what date the ACR was issued, product description, and then there are a few more details. The important takeaway here is that we are ultimately going to get to the accessibility conformance report, but this is only going to come after we fill in the VPAT. And the only way that we can accurately and completely fill in the VPAT is to have an audit. And so an audit, again, is going to be a formal evaluation, and it's going to consist of multiple methodologies. So we're going to be screen reader testing, we're going to be keyboard testing, we're going to be visually inspecting the digital asset. We may be also looking at some of the code. So there are multiple ways that we are going to evaluate the digital asset. But the important part is that we are making sure that we uncover all of the accessibility issues for a given technical standard within the scope. And again, for VPATs, when we're creating an ACR, it's going to be a comprehensive scope because we want a fully and accurate accounting of the status of accessibility for the product or service. So this is why we conduct an accessibility audit for filling out a VPAT. If you are interested in VPAT services at accessible.org, we offer services as well as transparent pricing. I will include links to the services page as well as the pricing page, and then also a link to contact me directly through accessible.org if you are interested in VPAT services.